What up, Fin fans? Sorry, I've been not around, under the weather. We're going to talk about this Miami Dolphin coaching search and why I believe the Miami Dolphins have yet to hit rock bottom. It's going to get uglier before it gets better. Believe that. This Miami Dolphins squad needs to figure it out. But we'll be right back.
Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Moving on the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squash the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test. Expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess. What's happening next? Yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression. You could try to play, but you're never gonna be.
What up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I am your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everyone doing this morning? Sorry, I've been gone all week dealing with the sickness. It's kicking my butt. I still feel terrible. Constant migraines. Just, it's the worst. My wife's sick. Pretty sure my dirty ass teenage kids got me sick. You know, teenage kids, just spreading their germs everywhere. Not giving a damn. But it is what it is. I want to touch base with you guys before the end of the week. So here I am, here to talk Dolphins football and the Miami Dolphins coaching hires. Let's say good morning to the people up in the chat. Good morning. Michael Lamardo, good morning. Pagan, good morning. Jocelyn, good morning. Marcos, good morning. Lombardo says, how did we blow it because of John Harbaugh, one Super Bowl in 19 years? Let's get it. Jocelyn says, let's get a coach who wants to run it back with Tua. That's all I ask for. I don't know about that, brother. Jocelyn says, actually, I need some of those huge linemen my GM was talking about to protect Tua for once in his life. JD, what up, brother? What up? Listen, Lombardo, I'm not saying the Miami Dolphins blew it by missing out on John Harbaugh. That's not my major issue here with the Miami football Dolphins. It's not about losing out on John Harbaugh at all. It's the fact that we go into a head coaching search when we are the least attractive chick at the dance. You know what I mean? We gotta get the bum ass dudes to come holler at us because we come to the dance like the ugly chick. This team is the least attractive option on the market. If you look at the teams available and you look at the head coaching market, we're going to get the 8th best head coach out of this situation. Screw the John Harbaugh situation. John Harbaugh was given a great situation in Baltimore. He was handed a Super Bowl caliber football team when he didn't have that defense of Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. He wasn't a very good coach. He has one of the best general managers of all time in Ozzie Newsome. They go out and get Lamar Jackson, probably the best dual threat quarterback in NFL history. He's rode his coattails for the last several years. You're right. He only has one Super Bowl in 18 years of coaching that football team. So it's not about John Harbaugh. This is not about John Harbaugh. It's about why would you go into a coaching search knowing that anybody that you like in this coaching search is going to have a better alternative than the Miami Dolphins. And I'm against Kevin Stefanski. I don't want Kevin Stefanski. Anybody that's led the Cleveland Browns, I don't want. Anybody that's led the Cleveland Browns, I don't want. I don't care that he was a 2-time coach of the year. I do not care. I do not want Kevin Stefanski. But even if you did want Kevin Stefanski, do you think Kevin Stefanski is going to choose the Miami Dolphins over the Atlanta Falcons? Over the Pittsburgh Steelers? Over the Tennessee Titans, who have a franchise quarterback in the making in Cam Ward? It just didn't make sense that this Miami Dolphins team goes into a coaching search when you have nothing to offer a coaching candidate. The only reason a coaching candidate would take this job with the Miami Dolphins is because they have no other option to become a head coach. They have no other option. Let's be real. Mike McDaniel took this coaching job because this is the only offer he had. This is the only offer he had. And I put the little recycling symbol on the thumbnail because we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, all the way since Dave Wannstedt was the head coach here in Miami. Ever since Dave Wannstedt, it's out there that the Miami Dolphins want to bring in a defensive-minded head coach. Yeah, of course they do. Of course they do. Because that's what the Miami Dolphins do. They hire a defensive coordinator, then they hire an offensive coordinator, then they hire a defensive coordinator, then they hire an offensive coordinator. You know what I mean? We bring in a defensive coordinator for 3-4 years, and then the offense needs to be fixed. So we go and hire the fancy name and offensive coordinators. And after 3-4 years of that guy going, we need to fix the defense. We go get a defensive coordinator. Interviews my mind. It disgusts me. Robert Saleh, are you serious? Now, if you're telling me you got Robert Saleh and John Harbaugh, I'm taking John Harbaugh all day. But the fact that we couldn't even get an in-person meeting with John Harbaugh just shows how lowly this franchise is. It just shows how low this franchise has fallen. This was not the year to go into a coaching search. You should have kept Mike McDaniel for one more year. You should have. Let him get through this year. Let him get through this year. I don't think I'm glitching out on my feed. Anybody else got me glitching out? I don't believe I'm glitching out. Maybe. Okay. But again, this is typical Miami Dolphins for the last 20 plus years. Since Dave Wannstedt. This is the list of Miami Dolphins head coaches. Jim Bates, Nick Saban, defensive-minded coach. Cam Cameron after Nick Saban, offensive-minded head coach. Tony Sperano after him, defensive-minded head coach. Todd Boyles was interim defensive head coach. They go get Joe Philbin after Todd Bowles. He's an offensive head coach. Dan Campbell, interim. Adam Gase, they went and got Adam Gase. That was 2 offensive coordinators in a row. But Adam Gase was the Peyton Manning whisperer. Peyton Manning co-signed on Adam Gase. So the Miami Dolphins went and got Adam Gase. Adam Gase didn't work out. We need to fix the defense. We go get Brian Flores. Brian Flores didn't work out. We go get an offensive guy. And if we're talking offensive coordinators, I don't think there's anybody available that has a better offensive mind than Mike McDaniel. In my mind, there's no one that has a better offensive mind than Mike McDaniel. And Mike McDaniel had his faults. Don't get me wrong. And did Mike McDaniel deserve to go? But it wasn't the right time to let him go. It was not the right time to let him go. You had already given him an extra year. You know, the status quo isn't good enough, blah, 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is, you had already given him an extra year. What's one more year? If you think this team is going to be able to compete next year, you're certainly wrong. You're certainly wrong. You don't like what Kingsbury did with Jaden Daniels? What did Kingsbury do with Jaden Daniels? First off, Jaden Daniels wasn't even on the field this year. Jaden Daniels looked good as a rookie. He looked good as a rookie. Jocelyn says, and we did get a real coach, Sean Payton and Tom Brady. Roger Goodell turns to a hater and punishes us, but us fans want to be mad at Ross, not me. Listen, I'm mad at Ross for you just don't do what he has. He doesn't have a football mind. We are the least attractive option of the 8 or 9 teams looking for a head coach. And this is when we want to go and put our name into the hat, go out and get a head coach. If you ask any of the candidates, if they choose us or the other 7 or 8 teams that are available, they're choosing them other teams. Which Miami first-time head coach candidate has the connections to pull off a good staff? I don't know. What up, Cap? What up? First off, there's only 11 head coaches in NFL history that have won Super Bowls with the first team that they're coaching. So as far as first-time head coach goes, only 11 of them have won Super Bowls with their first team they've coached. Only 11. And 3 or 4 of them were set up for, John Harbaugh, for instance. He was given a Super Bowl caliber team. John Gruden, given a Super Bowl caliber team. What's the 49ers? George Seifert given a Super Bowl caliber team. Mike Tomlin given a Super Bowl caliber team. Big C, how did Ward really perform this year with the Titans? I don't think that they're better. They're a better situation. Their offensive line is horrendous, and they don't have great receivers. We don't have great receivers. Our offensive line's not great. Mike McDaniel covered up the holes on our offensive line. We have no quarterback. Cam Ward wasn't bad this year. He wasn't phenomenal, but Cam Ward wasn't bad. Thank Chris Greer for this culture. It's just the whole football process. The whole football process. Jeff Halfley reportedly getting second interview. Of course he is. Of course he is, because we hired a guy that his whole career was based in Green Bay. His whole career was in Green Bay. He has no other team experience but with the Green Bay Packers. John Sullivan, his whole NFL career was in Green Bay. So of course we're going to go after Green Bay guys. Surprise, surprise. Don't we have a franchise left tackle with Patrick? All right, that's one player. That's one player. Left guard, Jonas Vainaya, I'm not giving up on the kid, but he was the worst guard in football this year. Right guard, Daniels might never play another down for us. They might cut him. We have a hole at right tackle. Your best playmaker is a undersized running back who's absolutely great, and I love HN. I love him. But eventually, the amount of touches he has is going to catch up to him. He's an undersized back. Two things Green Bay did right was always have good secondaries and offensive line. And I'm not disagreeing with that. But one thing Green Bay did good was Green Bay has gotten very lucky at the quarterback position over the last 30 years. Exactly, Lombardo. We got no good quarterback, and we're in cap hell. No good quarterback and in cap hell. Whereas if we wait one more year, to go out for and look for a head coach, but if John Harbaugh gets released or gets fired next year, John Harbaugh more than likely would be choosing the Miami Dolphins, because we'd have a top pick in the draft, we'd have hella cap room, and then the other things that come with coaching in South Florida, the weather, the taxes, you know what I mean? But tell me how it's beneficial for the Miami Dolphins to fire Mike McDaniel, this girl at the dance, the least attractive option to go searching for a quarterback or a coach. Tell me how that's a smart option for the Miami Dolphins. When we're the least attractive option available to go searching for a head coach. Big C, can we see what we have with Quinn Ewers this coming season before we say he's trash? He performed pretty well the last 3 games. I'm not saying Quinn Ewers is trash. I'm saying chances are Quinn Ewers is not the future quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. I think Quinn Ewers proved that he's an NFL quarterback. I think he did. I think he performed well enough that we know that he's an NFL quarterback. But I'm not putting all my eggs in the Quinn Ewers basket. And neither is a John Harbaugh, neither is a Mike Tomlin, neither even is a Kevin Stefanski. Big C, I think it was time to move on realistically because there was a limit what we can do with Mike McDaniel, and I honestly think Sullivan really doesn't want to be stuck with the same coach. No, we'll get a defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers that was super inconsistent this year. You know, I mean, this Green Bay as good as they were supposed to be this year. Give me 1 second. I'm going to reload my computer. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, folks. Just wanted to see if this would help with the in and out. You know what I mean? It was catching, lagging. But I mean, let's be real. Like, you don't enter your head into the head coaching space if you're the least attractive option. At best, you're going to get everybody else that you're going to like. You're going to be their second choice. You're going to be their second choice. Kevin Stefanski would only consider the Miami Dolphins if the Atlanta Falcons don't choose him, if the Baltimore Ravens don't choose him, if the Pittsburgh Steelers don't choose him, if the New York Giants didn't choose him. He's not going to be like, I want to go be a Miami Dolphin. I want to go be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. None of them coaches are saying that. I just don't see how it hurts to wait one more year when we become attractive option. Next year, we are a far more attractive option. Next year. Big C, I don't think we're going to get happy because the reports coming out of Green Bay. Let me see. Reports coming out of Green Bay and from people who have watched that on YouTube, they're saying that it's more likely that LaFleur gets traded. Listen, I like Matt LaFleur to a point, but is he that much more different than Mike McDaniel, to be honest? The way I see it, we could have been stuck with Mike McDaniel for one more year or bottom of the barrel first-time head coach for the next four. I think firing Mike McDaniel this year sets us back 4 years. I think it sets us back for the next 4 years. And we're not going to be successful next year regardless. Regardless. This team's not going to be good next year regardless. This team is specifically built to support Tua Tagovailoa and Mike McDaniel's offense that he built. It's going to have to be reshaped for the next guy that's brought in here. They're not going to be able to flip this team in 1 year. I think you're being overly dramatic. I don't think it's a setback for 4 years, maybe 2 or 3 years, but 4 to 5 years seems a little bit extreme. No, it's a setback for another 4 years because Stephen Ross has shown that he's not willing to fire a guy after 1, 2 years. He gives them 3, 4 years. So how is it not a setback? The coach that we hire this offseason is not the right head coach for the Miami Dolphins. I'm not going to believe it. It's not a head coach that truly wants to be in Miami. Believe that. They would choose any other option over the Miami Dolphins this offseason if given the choice. But if you go into it knowing this year is a wash, it can be attractive knowing you get to come in and start building from the start and not picking up what someone else started. Well, it wasn't for John Harbaugh. We couldn't even get a meeting. What's attractive about the Miami Dolphins? I'm not saying we should have rolled with Tua. But if you listen to Darren Waller on Johnny Manziel's podcast, he said it's not a physical thing with Tua. But regardless, Tua, it was time to move on. Mike McDaniel was handcuffed from the start. Mike McDaniel was handcuffed with Tua Tagovailoa from the start. Big C, if you actually look at the Steelers' last 3 coaches, most of them were there in the mid-30s or late 30s. I think they're going to get a younger coach, and Kevin's in his 40s already. I don't want Kevin Stefanski. Don't get me wrong. And if they get this younger coach, if it's this coach's first job, I just gave you the stat. Only 11 head coaches in NFL history have won Super Bowls with the first team they've ever coached. And three or four of those were set up with teams from the prior regime. John Harbaugh was set up by Brian Belichick. They already had a Super Bowl caliber team in Baltimore. Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh already had a Super Bowl caliber team when Bill Cowher left. George Seifert already had a Super Bowl caliber team from the prior regime. So that drops you down to seven coaches all time have won Super Bowls as first time head coaches. But with Tua, and that's another Dolphin move. John Harbaugh has proven. What's he going to bring someone from Baltimore as his general manager? I'll take it. But with Tua, McDaniel equals continuing mediocrity. Dolphins need to get out of this. And I agree they do. But again, it's one more year to become, the ugly stepsister to Cinderella. 2026 we're the ugly stepsister. 2027 we're Cinderella. That's how we're going to appear the NFL coaching candidates. Thank you, Michael. Big C, honestly, I would like Kevin because I think he's learned from his first time as a head coach. What did he learn from last year? Kevin Stefanski's learned so much from last year with the Cleveland Browns. Last year, he's learned so much. He's learned so much from, you know what I mean? Not to mention, Kevin Stefanski was supposed to be an offensive head coach, and the Cleveland Browns are known for their defense. Mike McCarthy's not going to be interested in the Miami Dolphins. Mike McCarthy don't want to rebuild, and I don't want Mike McCarthy either. Mike McCarthy, he's got a Super Bowl title, but riding off the coattails of one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Cap says, okay, the comments are coming fast. I got to scroll up. Adam Schefter reports Kevin Stefanski will have a second interview with the Falcons about the team's opening head coaching position. Kevin Stefanski's not interested in the Dolphins neither. Kevin Stefanski's probably second or third most wanted head coaching candidate in the NFL. Again, we're the ugly stepsister this year. One more year with Mike would have been great. We could have seen what Mike McDaniel does in a full season without Tua Tagovailoa, first and foremost. Secondly, we could have moved on from Mike next year. We would have had hella cap room. Tua would have been off the books. We would have had a upper echelon draft pick, chances are, to go out and get a quarterback in a draft that is more quarterback friendly. Band-Aid had to be ripped off. Better now than later. Not getting any younger. Look forward. Ritter, that's exactly what we're doing this year, is putting a Band-Aid on it. By getting rid of Mike McDaniel and finding a head coach this year, we're putting a Band-Aid on our franchise. Because we're not going to the doctor to get it fixed. We're not going to get the top GM. We're not going to get the top head coaching candidate. We're rubbing some dirt on it, giving her a spit shine and putting a piece of duct tape over the cut. Because that's what we can afford. That's what we can get. We don't got insurance. We're trailer parking it. Because we're not an attractive option. The top candidates, we're not. If you were in a top coaching candidate, why would you risk your first time coaching situation with the Miami Dolphins? Why would you? If I was Seattle's offensive coordinator, I'd go back to Seattle for a year. See what's available next year. If I'm Chris Shula, Mike McVay doesn't know what his future is from one year to the next. Half the time he's talking about retiring. If I'm Chris Shula, I'm staying right there with the Rams. The Rams are a Super Bowl caliber team this year. The Rams win a Super Bowl this year. Maybe Mike McVay retires, goes off for a year. If I'm Chris Shula, I'm not coming to Miami. For what? A team that has no quarterback, a team that has no salary cap. But Dolphins can pitch this to the new head coach. But again, head coaching candidates don't want to hear this. They don't want to come in here and deal with a losing season. They don't want to go in and deal with a rebuild. There's a reason that John Harbaugh chose the Giants, because they got a quarterback that he feels like can be a franchise quarterback. They got a pretty good defense. They got a number one receiver. They got a pretty good running game. They got a top 10 pick in the draft, and they got some salary cap space. They got things that make them attractive. Miami Dolphins don't. This isn't what you'll have next year. It's about what you got now. And the Miami Dolphins don't got squat now. The Athletics' Dan Dugan speculates the holdup with John Harbaugh's 5-year contract to be the Giants' next head coach involves the organization's chain of command. Adam Schefter reports Packers are working on a contract extension for head coach Matt LaFleur and general manager Brian Gunhurst. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport said it remains to be seen whether the Eagles want to keep wide receiver A.J. Brown on the roster for the 2026 season. I think A.J. Brown will probably be gone. Jay Pagan Trash reports Stefanski will not have a second interview with Miami. He don't want to be here. It's because, Edward, he don't want to be here. We're putting all our eggs in this new GM's. What's this GM ever proved to anybody? I mean, we got an unproven GM that's never been a general manager before. He's only worked for one franchise. And I'm sorry I'm not being positive Patty over here, but I've went through this rebuild shit. I've went through the new head coach. Give him a chance, give him a chance, give him a chance, give him a chance. So many times. And it's the same stupid shit over and over and over and over. Mike Silver reports that the Eagles might draft a quarterback this spring. Silver adds the Eagles' backup quarterback, Tanner McKee, is also highly regarded within the building. 2027 is the Dolphins' year, and new head coach will have a year head start to get the players. But Daddy Dean, I'm telling you that we're not going to get the caliber head coach that we need. We're not going to get the caliber head coach we need this year. So again, we're going to miss out on all the top candidates that become available next year. Mike Tomlin's probably not going to coach this year, in my opinion. But there's a good chance he comes back to coach next year. We fired Mike McDaniel late. We seen the options available when we fired Mike McDaniel, and the options weren't great this year. They weren't great. And then you put us at the bottom of the list as far as quality openings, and you're going to get stuck with the 7th, 8th best coaching candidate available. And the Miami Dolphins will pretend. They'll pretend this was the number one guy we wanted. This is the number one candidate on our list. We wanted him over John Harbaugh. We wanted him over Kevin Stefanski. We wanted him. No, you didn't. But that's what you'll say. The GM candidates didn't want to work with McDaniel, and he wasn't a good coach anyway. Cool. What candidate, as far as general manager, became available that blew your freaking socks off that you couldn't have waited for a general manager next year? Give Ciampa another year as general manager. Hire your general manager of the future next year. We would have been a more attractive option for a general manager next year too. McDaniel and his brat friend, the comedian, and the two can all three kick rocks. And Cap, I'm not saying that Mike McDaniel shouldn't be let go. but we should have done it next year. We should have done it next year. Speculation on what we will do at the quarterback position in 2026. I mean, Quinn Ewers is going to get an opportunity, right? They probably bring in a veteran. They'll probably bring in a veteran. I hope they don't go out and try to bring in Kirk Cousins or I don't know. Who knows? We don't know who our head coach is going to be. You know, the only way to fix the situation we're in, is give Anthony Weaver 1 year as the head coach. You give Anthony Weaver 1 year. See what Anthony Weaver can do with this roster. And then if it doesn't work out, you can fire Anthony Weaver. You don't got to feel bad. You fire Anthony Weaver after next year, and then you're set up to go get a head coach, go out and get yourself a franchise quarterback. That's the only way to fix the current predicament. Otherwise, you're going to tie yourself to a new head coach for the next 3-4 years, and this head coach is not going to be chances are is not going to be the long-term answer for the Miami Dolphins. We want Mike Ditka. Is Mike Ditka still alive? Is Mike Ditka still alive? 2027, we only have 3 openings for head coach. 2026, we have 9 openings. Another reason, Dean. Another reason. Mike McDaniel went to bat for this cat. Hell, we are in Tua, Reek, etc. You know, Tyreek Hill, I don't care what anybody says. Tyreek Hill was a smart move because of the situation the general manager put us in. If we would have stayed in place and took Jamar Chase, we would have never had to trade for Tyreek Hill. Tua, yeah, he co-signed for Tua. But this year's Tua wasn't the same Tua that was up for a contract extension. The contract extension Tua was a pretty decent quarterback. You got to think, well, coming off that 2023 year, we looked like we were going to be really good. We had the number 1 offense in football. Why wouldn't you go to bat for Tua? You guys forget. 2023, if not for all the injuries, we had a really good shot at making a run in a Super Bowl with Tua. And I know you can say we didn't beat the upper echelon teams. We couldn't beat teams with a winning record that year. But our roster was in shambles due to injury. They really were. I understand Mike McDaniel going to bat for Tua Tagovailoa. I understand it. Now, you know, if you look at it now, it looks like it was a really bad move. But coming off the 2023 season, why wouldn't you support giving Tua the contract extension? Why wouldn't you? Atlanta is in a weak division is a big positive for them. But you got a young quarterback, right? You got a young running back who looks like he's a superstar. You got a young tight end who's shown that he can be the playmaker that they thought he could be. You got Drake London who looks like he could be a top wide receiver. You got pieces there. They're going to be able to move off Kirk Cousins' contract, and they're going to have a lot of cap room over there. Atlanta's got pieces. 9 openings. That's why there are more opportunities for these young coordinators. And guess what, Dean? We're the 9th best of those 9 openings. We're at the very bottom of those openings. Rank them. What are the openings and where would you put the Miami Dolphins? What are the 9 current openings and what would you, if you were a first-time coaching candidate, give me the list of in order which team you would choose. I want to even say that, Mark. I want to even say the Browns are least desirable than us. I would say the Browns are more desirable than us. They got a top-notch defense, a top 5 defense. Shador's shown some potential. They got a top young tight end. They got a top young running back. They're going to be able to move off Watson's contract soon. I wouldn't say that Cleveland is, I wouldn't say Cleveland's less attractive than Miami. Mike created the soft culture. Everyone makes fun of us for. His play calling sucked. His game management sucked. He helped screw up our cap. He never took anything serious. He never had the team ready. Listen, I'm not debating that per se. I'm not debating that Mike McDaniel should have been here long term. But we already went through Mike McDaniel for 4 years. What's one more year? What's one more year? And you can't say his play calling sucked. His play calling, when healthy, when this team had a legit offensive line and legit playmakers, his play calling was top notch. There's a reason that he's highly revered around the league for his play calling. Mike McDaniel's going to land on his feet. That's why Mike McDaniel's getting offensive coordinator interviews for some of the top teams in the NFL. The Detroit Lions. They're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. Mike McDaniel's going to be okay. Yes, he had his downfalls 100%. And I'm not saying he should be here long term and we should invest in Mike McDaniel. But one more. Dean says, whom do you want as head coach, Big C? Who do I want for head coach? I don't know, because if it was up to me, we wouldn't be doing our head coaching search till next year. When we're an attractive option. When we're the belle of the ball. Look at Miami. Why wouldn't you want to go to Miami? They got a bunch of cap space. They got a very young team. You get to go and pick your quarterback of the future in a quarterback-friendly draft. Why wouldn't you? So I can't say. Out of the list of guys right now, there's not nobody on this list that I'm willing to tie my franchise to for the next 4 years. There's none of them. There's nobody. Gonna tank like the Jets. I mean, at this point, that's what we should do. To be fair, the 7 other teams need coaches. That's a quarter of the league. Absolutely. And we're the least attractive option, Cap. Would you not agree with that? Would you not say that we're the least attractive option of the 7, 8 teams that need our coaches? Who do you see that will be the next great 2027 head coach? Who knows who becomes available? Andy Reid may become available. Who knows? Andy Reid might finally want to get out the cold and, another missed playoff push with Pat over there in Kansas City. Who knows? Who knows who becomes available? Maybe Mike McVay wants a change of scenery. Who knows? Mike Tomlin probably wants to come back and coach next year. Sean McVay. I don't know why I keep calling him Mike McVay. Sean McVay. That dude was crying online because he didn't get the job. He'd be a nightmare. Again, it's for 1 year. For 1 year. How much worse can you do than the last regime? It's for 1 year. That gets us out the salary cap hell. Yes, but why not start this year? Start. Dean, I get what you're saying. That's why I agree. We could start this year. But the only answer is Anthony Weaver then. Anthony Weaver is the only coach you can hire right now, and they're going to feel comfortable firing at the end of the season. Any head coach they bring in this year, they're not firing next year. And the list of candidates isn't great for the Miami Dolphins. So we're going to get stuck with an underqualified head coach for the next 4 years because we decide to do our head coaching change this year. You know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? Does it make sense what I'm saying? That's my only issue. If we could bring in someone this year and after this season, if it didn't work out, if they don't produce, we could fire them at the end of the year. I'm cool with whoever. Because this year is going to be a wash year. But no, they'll keep this guy for 3-4 years, even though he wasn't a top candidate. He wasn't a top candidate. If he was a top candidate, he would have signed with one of the 7 other teams looking for a head coach right now. We're going to get the bottom of the barrel, what's available this year. We'll take whoever is left on the head coach trash heap because no one wants to come here. Exactly, Mark. Nobody wants to come here this year. So we're going to get whoever's left. And the only reason I'm saying Weaver is because they can fire him after this year and not feel bad. We don't have to be tied to this guy for the next 3-4 years. We can have him coach this year and then fire him this year. Weaver is going to join Harbaugh with the Giants as his DC. Only if we let him. Mark P, only if we let him. He's got to get permission from the Miami Dolphins to go take the same position with another team. I know, Edward, they haven't interviewed Weaver. They haven't. And that's why they're messing up. And that's why they continue to do the same type of shit over and over. Because they're not thinking smart. They're not thinking smart. They're trying to find a long-term option right now. They're trying to find their 3-4 year guy right now. They can be the coach for the next 4 years to decade. That's what they're trying to find with minimal options. Then 2027 is set up. It is. 2027, we will be set up. We'll have a bunch of salary cap, right? Tua, we can get rid of Tua. Tyreek's contract will be gone. Bradley Chubb's contract will be gone. We'll have a shit ton of cap room. We'll have probably a top 10 draft pick. We'll have another year of rookie players on this football team that hopefully we do a good job of drafting this year in 2026. So you got a top 10 draft pick that you can go out and get a good quarterback in the draft, in a quarterback-friendly draft. (2027) we are set up way better. We're way more attractive to potential head coaching candidates than what we are this year. Packers fans are mad. They rather have LaFleur and Halfley moved up. It's not that bad, for real, for real. Yeah, all right. Yes, why give another new head coach a pass in 26? Give Weaver a shot. It's not even giving a new head coach a pass. If the right head coaching candidate was available, I'd give him a pass for 2026. But the fact of the matter is, we're not getting a top echelon head coaching candidate because none of the top echelon head coaching candidates want to come to Miami this year. None of them want to give Miami the time of day this year because there are 7 or 8 better options than the Miami Dolphins. You're going to take the 8th or 9th best looking girl to the dance because the cheerleaders don't want to date you. Bottom line. All the hot girls want to date the guys on the football team. You over here in South Florida with the nice weather and no state taxes, yeah, you got a nice car. You got a nice car. So someone might find you a little bit attractive because you got a nice car, but they're not going to choose you over the football stars on the team. These girls ain't going to choose you over the football stars on the team who also have nice cars. It's just how it is. You give Weaver the job for 1 year. 1 year. Weaver is some teams on some people's list a top candidate for them is for head coach, or at least the option. So you get a trial run with Weaver as the head guy. You give Weaver 1 year, and if Weaver doesn't work out this year, you fire him, and then next year you got your pick of head coaching candidates. You got your pick next year of head coaching candidates because why? Next year Miami's going to be the pretty girl at the dance. Oh, you got a top 10 draft pick? Oh, you got a lot of salary cap room? Oh, you're in South Florida with beautiful weather? Oh, you got no state income tax? Oh, Miami automatically jumps to the front of that line next year. And then we can have our pick of the next brilliant offensive coordinator. We can have our pick of the next brilliant defensive coordinator, or we can have our pick of the next veteran head coach that's available, that's looking for a new start with a new team. Not talking about bringing in Robert freaking Saleh. Come on. You tell me how Robert Saleh is the right fucking choice as head coach of the Miami Dolphins. This new GM, I don't care what he has to say. Who is he? Maybe he didn't want Mike McDaniel. Tough titty said the kitty. If this next general manager had any, real brilliance to him, he'd be doing my game plan. Big C got the answers to the test. So if this general manager was worth a damn, he'd be going with my game plan, baby. Again, thank Chris Greer for all this, guys. Simple, don't overthink it. Cap, you're not wrong, brother. Who's better, Arizona or us? Oh, man. That's the only other one that is down the list. They got McBride, who's a top tight end. You got Marvin Harrison Jr. That's a tough call. But again, all right, so maybe we're not the 8th most attractive franchise, we're the 7th. But that's who we're competing with, Arizona. You're correct, Dean. He can't move Weaver can't move on. He can't take the same position. He's got to be promoted. Penix Jr. is one more hit away to his knee going on retirement. You're right. Sagman, you're not wrong. But they still got cap room, and they can move. They can draft another quarterback. We can't mention the Browns because they beat us with backups. True. But the Cleveland Browns got pieces. First off, Cleveland Browns got a top 5 defense. Secondly, they got Fanning at tight end. They got the young running back they got over there. They got pieces. Shador showed a little potential this year. We're going to get a bum coach. You're right, Lombardo. That's what I'm saying. We're not going to get a good head coach this year. And now we're going to tie ourselves to this guy for the next 2-3 years, 4 years. Then the Giants are going to have to give us draft capital. McDaniel is predictable. Again, I'm not saying Mike McDaniel is the long-term answer, but Mike McDaniel for one more year wouldn't have killed us. It wouldn't have killed us. It wouldn't have killed us. Again, what's Mike McDaniel? You take Mike McDaniel and put him on Detroit. If he gets that Detroit offensive coordinator position, Mike McDaniel's going to turn Detroit into a Super Bowl caliber team. Detroit's going to average 40 points a game. Dean, it's not too late right now. They can still save this. They can still save it. They can't save it with Mike McDaniel, but they can save it by giving Weaver this year. Is Vegas better than us? I would say so. I'd say Vegas is more attractive than us. Vegas has the top pick in the draft, right? Vegas going to go get their quarterback, right? Vegas going to have salary cap room, right? You look like you got a franchise running back, right? You got a top 5 defensive player on your team, right? Tennessee's got their potential franchise quarterback. Maybe Cam Ward doesn't turn into a superstar, but potentially they're more attractive than Miami. They have the top quarterback in the draft of last year's draft. They got another top draft pick this year. Without Rodgers, is Pittsburgh better than us? Yes. Pittsburgh certainly is better than us. Titans have Cam Ward. We have viewers. Who do you think is better? Laugh out loud. No brainer. Yeah, I mean, come on. McDermott. Come on. Our quarterback situation is killing us when it comes to attracting head coaches. Yes. And the salary cap hurts too. But that head coaching shit, that's where it really comes down to. Or the quarterback shit, that's where it really comes down to. Do what Las Vegas did. Hire a bridge head coach like John Gruden. John Gruden, I think, could be a long-term answer head coach. But they're not going to – Stephen Ross ain't going to take that risk. I think John Gruden could be a long-term option at head coach. But, yes, you do exactly what the Raiders did. They brought in Pete Carroll, and they weren't afraid to fire Pete Carroll after 1 year. And Pete Carroll wasn't given a stellar franchise this year. But guess what? They became a more attractive option to get a better head coaching candidate this year. So they were able to move on from Pete Carroll because they got the number 1 pick in the draft. So you're going to give a coaching candidate the number 1 pick in the draft. They get his quarterback. You got a franchise running back. You got one of the best tight ends in all of football. The Raiders became a way more attractive franchise for a head coaching candidate this year. So they moved on from Pete Carroll. Miami won't do that, though. Miami won't hire a head coach this year and realize that more better qualified guys for head coaching positions come available next year, and they won't make the move. They won't make the move. We had Mike McDaniel and Jim Harbaugh became available again. We didn't move off Mike Harbaugh or Mike, Jesus. We didn't move off Mike McDaniel to go get Jim Harbaugh because we had Mike McDaniel already. If Miami wants to hire one of these head coaches this year, cool. But next year, when a better option becomes available, fire them. Fire them and go and grab the better candidate. We will get our quarterback next year for sure. We've sucked this year, same old shit. Yes, that's why you wait till next year to get the coach. Bring in Shula as head coach. At least that will be an interesting storyline. Shula probably don't want to come here. First off, you got to live in the shadows of your grandfather. You're going to get a head coaching position someday. Shula probably don't want to come here. Mike McCarthy doesn't want to be with the Miami Dolphins. Mike McCarthy doesn't want to do a rebuild. Thank you, Mark. I mean, I just wish they'd look at it that way. And, it is what it is. What quarterback do you think we would actually get in this draft that's worth anything? I wouldn't draft a quarterback this year. I'd wait till next year. Hot girls want the cat. Dean, at this point, the cash is going to be similar at most places. Hot girls want stability too. Hot girls want to, look good. They don't want to come in and get fired after 3-4 years. Weaver 1 year, then get Indiana head coach. And listen, you get any 1 year deal, I'm cool with. You don't sign one of these head coaches to a long-term deal. For what? For what? McDaniel walk away with $19 million. Mark, I try. You know what I mean? I try. Like, I'm tired of being super overly positive. It's not positive. It's the same shit over and over and over. It's over and over and over. I try to be a guy that comes out here and speaks my feelings as a fan. I'm not a fake, analyst. I'm not a, guy that's on ESPN. I'm a fan speaking from my extra living room in my house that I turned into a podcast room so I could talk Dolphins football with all of you. That's who I am. I'm a fan just like you. And I've watched this team for far too long. And I know I've seen this story before. And the Dolphins and football is not much different than the rest of life. If you got the eighth best team available, you're going to get the 8th best head coach available. That's not what's best for this franchise. That's not franchise changing. I'm not going to go buy a car that has a bunch of miles on it with dents all over it, and I got to pay the same price as a nice car. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to save my money till, the next year's cars come. Like, perfect example. Let's look at it like this. I got a Dodge Charger. I got a Jeep Cherokee. Dodge Chargers just changed their body this year, right? They just changed their body type this year. And let's take away the motor and all that. I could have went and bought a brand new Dodge Charger last year, who's going to have the same body since 2014. Knowing that they're going to change the body style next year and it's going to look like I have an older model car, even if my car is still brand new. Why would I buy the older model? Why would I buy the older model when I can have the new fresh model? Weaver and Mike McDaniel are like oil and water. They both blow. When the Bills lose tonight, they will enter a new head coaching search, in my opinion. And Buffalo immediately jumps ahead of us. Are you going to choose to go coach Josh Allen, or are you going to choose to coach Quinn Ewers? Miami look alike. They might finally be doing things the correct way. Let them cook. They have an option. Who, though? Who? What are the Miami Dolphins doing right now? They gives you hope. What moves have they made that gives you hope that they're doing things differently? That this time's going to be different. No way Mike McDaniel wins a Super Bowl calling plays. I disagree. What about the coach that loses this weekend, Big C? They're going to have better options than the Miami Dolphins. That's what I'm saying. Mendoza to Vegas makes them a lot better than us. I agree. We will get the first pick in 2027. Watch. I don't know about the first pick, but we'll have a better pick than this year. And there's better quarterback options next year. The GM is picking a guy he's comfortable with and has tons of upside. You'll see, buddy. He's going to pick a guy that he's comfortable with. You're 100%. He's going to pick a guy that he's comfortable with. Basically, we're getting Green Bay Packers, hand-me-downs, backups. We got the Green Bay Packers backup GM. Like, come on. Pagan, I hope you're right. I'm a Dolphins fan. I want them to win. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm dead wrong. But I bet you I'm not. But I hope to God, I swear to God, I hope to God I'm dead wrong. And maybe I lose subscribers and they're like, that guy's full of shit. He don't know what he's talking about. I will happily take that. I will happily have you guys stop listening to me because you don't think I know what I'm talking about or think that I'm stupid as shit if it means the Miami Dolphins win football games. I'll take it all day long. I'd rather close up shop on this podcast and not do it anymore because people think I'm an idiot if it means the Miami Dolphins are winning football games. I swear to God, that's true. I swear to God, it's true. And I'd miss talking to all of you on a daily basis, but I swear to God, I'll give all this up if it meant the Miami Dolphins become a winning franchise again. I'll give it all up. I hope I fall to one subscriber because people think I'm dumb as shit if it means the Miami Dolphins win football games. I'm glad we don't have Harbaugh. What he do with the Ravens, they got you pumped. I'm not saying necessarily Harbaugh, but after Harbaugh. What are the options after Harbaugh? We don't get the second best. We don't get the third best. We don't get the fourth best. We don't get the fifth best. We don't get the sixth best. We get the eighth best candidate. Well, I appreciate that, Began, but I'm just telling you, like, I would happily be wrong. There's not a lot of podcasters out there that will say that. There's not a lot of them out there that'll say that. Christian, what up? Make sure you hit that like button, please. It helps with the subscribers, helps me get into the algorithm. It really does help. I appreciate it. But a lot of podcasters would rather be right and have the Dolphins lose so they can get subscribers. Then that's not me. That's not me. I didn't start this podcast to get subscribers. It's nice to get subscribers. I would love to make $1 off this someday. I really would. I make no money off this podcast. None. Not $1. Not $1. I would love to someday. I would love to. But most of these podcasters, they'd rather be right so they can gain subscribers than watch the Miami Dolphins succeed. And that's just the truth. That's just facts. They'd rather be right than the Miami Dolphins win and succeed. That's not me. I hope I'm wrong. But I truly believe that the Miami Dolphins, the only way to fix what they've got themselves into right now is to bring Anthony Weaver in for 1 year. Unless whatever candidate, I'm cool with whatever candidate you hire. If you go out and you hire the Green Bay's defensive coordinator, if he doesn't have a great year this year, if he doesn't show real potential as a head coach this year, and a better candidate becomes available next year that would be interested in the Miami Dolphins, if you're willing to part ways with that guy to get a better candidate, I'm cool with it. But the only way that works is if a better candidate becomes available, you got to make the move. You got to make the move. You can't say, well, I just hired this guy next year or last year, so I got to give him another couple years, see what he can do. No. If he hasn't shown you potential, if he hasn't shown you he can be the fucking guy, if he hasn't shown you that he can be the guy, you got to move on from him for the better candidate. You got to. You got to. Because you're going to be the prettiest girl at the dance next year. You're going to have a top draft pick. You're going to have a hell of salary cap room. You're South Florida, no state taxes. You should have an okay young team. You got to move on. I agree. Sullivan's going to try to bring in a guy he's comfortable with from Green Bay. And then they got a prior relationship. He's going to feel some type of loyalty to that guy that when it comes time to make a real football decision on Hafferly, he's not going to make the move because he feels loyalty to this guy. They got a prior relationship. That's why that move don't work out. He's got a personal relationship with this guy. That's why that move's not going to work out. They've probably been friends for 10 years. That's why that move don't work out. I'm not going to fire my friend. Give him another year. I promise he's good. That's my buddy. We were in Green Bay together. Matt LaFleur don't want to come here. You think Matt LaFleur wants to come here over the Green Bay Packers? Probably not. There's going to be 7 quarterbacks in next year's draft, first round material. Exactly. And we'll probably be able to get the second or third best of those. Who is talking shit about Mike McDaniel? I mean, lots of people talk shit about Mike McDaniel, and a lot of it is just. A lot of it's just. But at the same time, Mike McDaniel was the better option this year. There's not an offensive coordinator available that I necessarily like more than Mike McDaniel. And again, I keep Mike McDaniel or bring Weaver on for 1 year as head coach because you can move on from them next year and not feel badly about it. But that's what I got. I love you all. We'll talk more about it. Obviously, they'll continue the interview guys. They're gonna keep searching. They're gonna keep searching. They're gonna keep pulling names out the hat, hoping that they find some diamond in the rough. But let's be real, folks. Let's be real. Let's be real. Sullivan's probably going to hire one of his buddies from Green Bay, and he's not going to make the move necessary when the time comes. He's going to hire, let's say he hires Halfley. Perfect example. Let's say he hires Halfley. Let's say some long shot happens. Let's say Andy Reid becomes available next year. Let's say the Chiefs take another step back. At this time, Patrick Mahomes isn't as great as he was. The team is in flux. Andy Reid, he might want to come play in a warm weather, or coach in a warm weather climate, move to South Florida. Say Andy Reid becomes available. You think he's going to move off Halfley to go get Andy Reid? No. We're going to get stuck. Keep Mike if you can't get Harbaugh. They knew they couldn't get Harbaugh. But if it was next year, we could have had a shot at Harbaugh. That's what I'm saying. Next year, we're going to have an opportunity to get the best candidate available. Best candidate available. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. I'll see y'all later. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And it is what it is. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Miami Dolphins get the next Don Shula, the next Andy Reid, the next great head coach. But I don't think it's going to be this year. And I don't have confidence that they'll be able to make the right decision going forward. I feel like whatever decision they make at head coach this year is going to set us back multiple years. And that's just what it is. That's just what it is. But I love y'all. I appreciate you all. Please hit that like button. Please. I'll see y'all later. You know what it is. Fins up. Bye.
Yo. Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep. Call it football nirvana. Big C break it down. Got the stats in his veins. Play by play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field. Opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed. Leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle. Defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean. Whole squash the champ. Tune in. Big C. Got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast. It's the cream of the crop. Breaking news. Hot takes. Repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful. It's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.